have you here. I'm so blessed to have you listening to me because I often say one of the strongest things that I learned growing up from my mother was to value people's time. And I know that you have joined me at this time for a reason. And I'm super excited to have you on board. So today we are going to be talking about a really interesting topic. And I'll start off by telling you my story. I'll tell you about how I struggled, had challenges parenting my toddler some years ago, and how this led me on a journey of personal growth and transformation. And today I got to understand my parenting style, on how it inflects and impacts on my parenting in general. And I'm so grateful that I can share that with everyone, with anyone who is happy to, spend a little time with me here today. So I like to share my story. I like to just let you know that first of all, this is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. I'm not here to just talk and talk. I want to hear you. I want to feel like I'm not alone because, in this journey of life, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you're feeling, you just want to know that you're not alone. You want to know that there is someone listening to you. Sometimes all you need is someone listening, someone willing to listen. And yes, today I want you to know that no matter the challenges you're going through, in your family, whether it's a toddler tantrum, whether it's a teenager who is always stealing or lying, or whether it's all about the societal values that are common, that are clashing with your family values, with your personal values, whatever it may be, or whether it is the influence of how you were raised as a parent, whatever it may be, I want you to know that you're not alone. So let me just get into the story for today because I like to share the story because when I come in contact with people and we begin to discuss parenting, I realize that, we're all at a point or another, a season or another, different stages of parenting. Some are grandmas, some are new moms, some are teenagers, and the dynamic situation of everyone is different. And the joy of it is that no matter the challenges, there is a solution. No matter what you're going through, there is something that can change. If only we know better, I believe we can do better. And when we do better, it means that we can become who the kind of parent we want to be for our children. And so today, I said I was going to share my story and feel free to comment. Hi, it's so good to connect with you, wifeys. Thank you for joining me here today. So I said I was going to share my story, and like I said, each time I meet any parent, there is always something that is a challenge at a particular time. And it's so good to know that you're not alone, no matter the challenges. It's not specifically very new. It might be a new thing for you, it might be a new experience for you, but there are people who have gone through the same thing, there are people who are going through the same thing, and there are people who have overcome. There are people who are doing so well on the journey. There are people you can learn from. There are people that can learn from you. So it's a two-way street. Um, I would like to say that I remember waking up early one Monday morning and my toddler would not want to be out of the bed. She was on the bed and I had pre-planned my day night before. I wanted to, you know, go to work early, drop her off at the daycare. I just had a plan in my head and I was looking forward to the next day. But this particular morning, this child was not going to get out of the bed. And I was beginning to feel really anxious. I was beginning to fuse up with anger because I didn't understand why she wasn't cooperating. I tried to do everything I can, singing songs, and well, it seemed like we actually made progress. She stood out, followed me to the bathroom, but when it was time to brush her teeth, it seemed like we were in a tug of war because my toddler didn't want to open her mouth. I sang all the nursery rhymes that I knew, but it was hard. Anyway, we kept on going, and there was a time when I managed to put her in the bathroom. Giving her a bath also felt like another war. You know, I can imagine how I was sweating that day because I was furious. Like, this is supposed to be easy. Taking a bath was supposed to be easy, but it's amazing how sometimes children throw tantrums. They just decide, when you have a strong child, it might be difficult to navigate how you relate to that child when she wants to have her own way, especially when she doesn't want to do what you want to do. And so it happened that I was struggling with my toddler. I was struggling with my 2 year old. I told my 2 year old to stop crying, to stop whining, and just walk with me until we're done having her bath. At one point, we made success with that. I was able to dress her up, and I finally got done for that morning. But after all that drama, I had to think, like, what was happening? What happened? What just happened? Why was it a struggle to get my toddler to, have a bath? And I realized that my morning routine was a disaster. A lot of things were going on at the time, and I needed to have a better plan towards how to navigate, these chaotic mornings I was having. After I calmed down, I knew I needed to think about what I was going to do differently, what I wanted to do differently. Hello, Gobinda. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you for being here. Now, many mornings are like this for a lot of parents. I don't know if mornings are really smooth in your home, but as at that time, I was struggling with my morning routines until I got a hang of what I needed to change in myself and what I needed to do differently. Now, there is a quote that says, if we don't change where we are going, um, we are likely to end up in the direction we're moving, right? If we don't change where we're going, we're likely to end up in the direction we are moving in. And as a result of what we do and what I stand for, I believe that I have to think through how to make changes in my personal life because in the long run, it's about what kind of legacy do I want to keep? What do I want to be remembered for? It's about what's in it for the long time. And so I would just like to discourse on different parenting styles and how you can identify that. Because when I came to identify my own parenting styles, that was the beginning of a breakthrough. I was able to navigate the challenges and do better with my time. So let's talk about parenting styles. Hello, Gayats. It's so nice to have you here today. So at the end of this video, you're going to discover the impact of parenting styles on your child's development. We will talk about the diverse parenting styles that are available. We'll obtain the strategies for what we think should be the best parenting style to adopt for our own family. And from there, we can move ahead, we can move forward. But really, when we talk about parenting, what does parenting mean to you? Think about it again, not just about how you were raised. How do you see parenting? How has parenting impacted you? What is parenting to those around you, and how has it influenced how you see yourself as a person? Because your definition, our definition of parenting affects how we see even other people's children, not just our children. Our definition of parenting affects um, a lot of things that we see within the society and how we respond to it. So parenting is basically the raising of children, right? And it is a deliberate effort toward raising children. It's not just about giving birth. It's not just about, becoming a mother or father by virtue of, just conceiving a child and giving birth to that child. Parenting is deeper than that. Parenting styles are then an extension of how we are being raised, or how we are raising people, the young people in our lives. Each parent usually has his or her own parenting style. You and I have our own styles of how we were raised, how you were raised, the nature of parents that you had. If we go by how a lot of millennial parents were raised, or how boomers were raised, in this generation of the Alphas and the Gen Zs, it's a whole new generation, and the way we parent in this generation is just different. Thank you for joining me. I can see you. So, what would you like us to talk about today? I'm talking about parenting on my channel, and this is what the channel is entirely about. Parenting to me is actually nurturing divine purpose. It is in partnership with God. Parenting is partnership with God. It is nurturing divine purpose, because the purpose of God's is sure and it is certain. So the family is the center of the place of nurture. The family is a special place where we learn, where we grow, where wonderful things happen, right? Parenting is all about passing down cultural, traditional, personal heritage and beliefs and faith and traditions. It's about teaching moral values. Yes, parenting is about teaching moral values. Parenting is about um, providing a loving and supportive environment for our children. Parenting encompasses nurturing our children as true stewards that we are. Parenting is about fostering a sense of purpose, ensuring that children's safety and health are prioritized within the family unit, taking on our cultural values that we hold there and passing them on to our children. That's basically what parenting is about. So, when we talk about parenting styles, it's just the different ways in which we are doing the passing down of cultural values, of our skills and our habits as parents. Because, truth be told, whether we acknowledge it or not, whether we know it or not, we are actually passing down skills, we're passing down our attitudes, our habits to our children. And yes, they are unique individuals by themselves, but it's either we are inhibiting them or we are encouraging them. So if you're finding value from this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, welcome. I can sight you, someone has just joined us again. So we're talking about parenting, and we're talking about the different parenting styles, whether you're a new parent, whether you're going to become a parent very soon, or whether you're a grandma, this is the channel for you. And we're talking about how the different parenting styles are not fixed. The different parenting styles are, variants. They are different. There are parenting styles that they are not universal. So, like, it's not simple. There's just one parenting style in the world. Parenting styles actually vary across cultures. The way Africans parent is different from the way the Americans or the Caucasians parent. So the way you were raised is largely influenced by the parenting style of your own parents. Welcome. I can see another person join us. Please give this video a thumbs up and let us know where you're watching from. So parents often have different way of taking care of each of their children, which can lead to different patterns, which can lead to different relationship between themselves and their children. So the parent-child relationship is as dynamic as the parenting style. And parenting styles have a long-term effect. It's not just something we do in the short run. It has a long-term effect. It has, when we look into the future, when we consider how much of influence it has over the future, we'll know that it's not just about what we're doing in the interim, in the meantime. Parenting styles have a way of affecting a child's sense of worth. It affects the emotional health of children, their parenting understanding. So it's a huge responsibility. Being a parent I know it is a huge responsibility. I totally agree with you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. The different types of parenting styles. So I'll just get into those different styles. We have the authoritarian parenting. Which one are you? Or how were you raised? The authoritarian way of parenting. There is the authoritative way of parenting. There is the permissive way of parenting, and there is the uninvolved way of parenting, which is considered neglectful parenting. And these four parenting styles are based on how responsive a parent is or how demanding they are. Um, when you talk about the permissive parent is the parent who follows the child, the parent who is child driven, the parent who really gives any instructions, any rules, no limits for this parent. This parent does not enforce, rules, no boundaries. Anything goes. That's the permissive parent. The permissive parent, a child can come in to say, a permissive parent can be a bit dramatic with their child. When the child said, "No, I'm not going," the permissive say, "Oh, you don't want to go? Please come and go now. Okay, if you don't want to go, it's your decision, no problem. Okay? Do you want me to bring you a cup of tea? Good boy, good girl, do what you like." You know, permissive parents overindulges the child. They try to avoid conflict. They are not firm. They are not respectful of boundaries. They allow anything to slide. And yes, the word permissive means they permit anything. That is a permissive parent. Then when we talk about authoritative parents, these parents are all about, trying to solve problems together with the children. They know how to set the boundaries, they know the clear limits to give out, they let the child know what the expectations are. A lot of us, we get into parenting and we expect children to actually know what they should do. Yes, some of us do that. A lot of parents gets disappointed when a child does something that they have never really thought the child, but they expect the child to know that it's wrong, to know that it's not right, to know the right thing to do. I know, I understand that, yes, by living in a home, a child, but has it really been spelled out as an expectation? Has it really been, given as a standard to that child? The authoritative parent knows how to set the standards so well. Now, open communication is very important for the authoritative parents because they believe that um, getting feedback and saying your mind is important. In as much as they want to speak, they are so involved in active listening. They want to hear. They are telling you back what they think they're hearing. If it correlates with you, absolutely. That is the authoritative parent. And I would like to go on to talk about the neglectful parent, the parent who is uninvolved. And we need to just look into ourselves and find ways in which these different parenting styles show up in different aspects of our lives because we may not be perfect. And so it is imperative for us to continue to look into how we are feeling, the things that we are doing, and how we can make things better in the long run. Because being a neglectful parent means being uninvolved. And this is a parenting style that may be prevalent in one or two areas of different people's lives. So, uninvolved parenting, absent parents, parents who always provide little nurturance or guidance, they are indifferent to a child's social, emotional, or behavioral needs. This is neglectful parenting. So we need to begin to think about it. Am I available for my child's emotional, social, and behavioral needs? We'll also talk about authoritative parenting. This is a parenting style that is driven by the parent, where it's all about the parents feeling like the Lord and Master of everything, and it sets they are very good at setting strict rules, and they punish the children per time. It's more like it's a one-way communication style where this parent gets to say, this is what I don't like, this is what I don't want, this is what you shouldn't do. They just keep on bombarding the children with rules, with limitations, without consideration of their social needs, their emotional needs, or their behavioral needs. And so, which one are you, or which one were you raised with? The authoritative parents I have mentioned before make certain that their children follow all of their strict rules. So they are the strict parents. So if you consider that you were raised by a strict father, maybe your father's parenting style was authoritarian. If the child does not follow the rules, there's definitely going to be consequences. Severe punishment would follow. It's going to be melted out right away. And authoritarian parents rarely explain the reasons for the punishments, they rarely explain the rules and expectations, they just impose them. They just expect that the child, they are very dictatorial. They dictate the standards, and it has to be that dominant. So, today, I want us to look into our own minds. I want us to, think about what is the effect of authoritarian parenting on our children. How does it affect their self-esteem? How has it affected the way they do things? How has it affected their way of thinking? Because if we are authoritarian, our children have little rooms to think, because we are not always listening out for what they have to say. Rather, we are often excited about, what we can say to them. So, what are the effects of authoritarian parenting? Can you share some, if you know any, with me, please? Yes. Okay, so when a parent has very high demands and low responsiveness towards a child, that parent is definitely going to notice that the child's self-esteem will be low, because children who can express themselves, who can say how they are feeling part time, will definitely experience, because most times the authoritarian parent is very critical, very is full of criticism. They're always complaining, they're always criticizing, they're always comparing the children. And those are the three C's of parenting that we shouldn't be doing: parenting with complaints, parenting by criticizing, and parenting by comparing the children, comparing them with their siblings, comparing them with their friends, comparing them with every other person. Oh, this other person is so good at this. The question is, why is this child not doing what that other child is doing? What is the problem? Is it possible that the style of parenting that I have approached with is not working for this child. So many children who have low self-esteem lack positive reinforcements by their authoritarian parents. Also, there are poor social skills involved. Children often have difficulty forming good relationships, and they have low self-esteem that make them to tilt towards abusive relationships, because you know that support for and the skills to nurture good relationships are not there, and it becomes a problem in the long run. So we have talked about how authoritarian parents affect the low self-esteem of a child. It affects the social skills of a child. You also know that this child might have behavioral problems, because strict rules and harsh punishments can lead to rebellion. It can lead to resistance and defiance by the child, and the child can begin to lie and keep secrets just in an attempt to avoid punishments. Yes, for real. So when you notice that a child is having high levels of anxiety, high levels of depression, the child is always stressed, there's fear of making mistakes, the child doesn't want to make any mistakes, something is wrong. Maybe we should check our level, our way of parenting. Hi, welcome once again. I can see someone else has joined us. We're talking of parenting styles, and we're looking at how the different parenting styles affect children. And I just mentioned that if we notice that a child's self-esteem is low, maybe we should check at the parenting style. It could be authoritarian. If a child has emotional issues, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's high levels of intimidation, then we should pay attention and check if we are practicing the authoritarian style of parenting. Another thing is, depending on how we have been so much of dominance in that child's life, it is possible that a child would be so keen on relying on an authority. They are so dependent, they do not have the mind to do things for themselves. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, thank you. If a child just wants to obey at all times, there is something wrong. It's an indication that we're either so dominant, so authoritarian, that we want to have our way with that child at every time. And if we are having our way with a child at every single time, it means that child cannot have a mind of his own. Sometimes children need to have a mind of their own. They need to pay attention to how they feel and express that feeling in a way that is received. If we are not responsive to the feelings of children, we are going to experience that they become overly dependent on an authority figure, whether it's you as a parent, and they just want approval and love, and they struggle with being independent and making decisions. And these are skills that children need. Another important thing is resilience. The authoritarian parenting style does not allow for children to be resilient. It doesn't. It prioritizes um, children giving up very easily. And so they are not able to cope, they're not flexible enough to make adjustments. These children might lack effective coping mechanisms, leading to difficulties in handling, the challenges, everyday challenges. And that's why in today's society we're having high increased cases of mental health issues. We are having a lot of people going through anxiety, going through depression, which is a serious statistical value that we need to reconsider how we have been parenting or what has led us to this point. Parenting is very pivotal, very important, And I believe that because of exposure to harsh discipline and aggressive styles of parenting, the effects on our children is, excuse me, becoming really prominent. So the individual experiences of every child may vary, but the authoritarian style of parenting remains the same. So let me hear from you. Really, tell me, are you an authoritarian parent? Were you raised by an authoritarian parent? Um, yes, I'd like to hear from you. Were you raised by an authoritarian parent? If a child is constantly told their efforts are not good enough, were you constantly told, oh, you're not good enough as a child? If you're always being criticized and said, oh, you always mess things up, do you think that made you want to do better? Did it increase your self esteem in any way? As a child, it affects the esteem level of children. A child not allowed to interact freely with peers or participate in social activities because their parents believe they should fully focus on one thing. Some parents just think the academics is the most important thing, and the children would struggle to make friends or make understand social cues or what is happening in the society. And so it's very important that we take cognizance of this and pay attention to how it is working. Thank you so much. I trust that we've had a swell time together today. I would just like to read your comments. It's a dialogue, it's not a monologue. I would like to read your comments on how the way you were raised has affected you today as an adult, or how you think your parenting style is affecting the way you're raising your child. Maybe we want our children to be perfect. Maybe you want your child to do everything perfectly. They can't afford to make mistakes. How then do they learn if they don't make mistakes? You know? Okay, that's a wrap. I'll see you again when I see you again. Because if you pay attention to this, you can tell if your child is being affected by your controlling parenting style. Okay, so if you've noticed that your child often doubts their abilities, they feel discouraged easily, if your child typically responds to mistakes with fear, with crying, with they can't tell you they've made a mistake. It's an indication that this is a style of parenting that you have. Maybe your child have difficulty in um, their behaviors. Maybe your child just don't know how to balance the academic skills with other areas of their life, other aspects of their lives. So we need to pay attention to this and let me know if you identify as an authoritarian parent or if you were raised by an authoritarian parent. I have a free ebook for you to download, which is full of key lessons that I believe would really help you and I on this journey. I'll see you again when I see you tomorrow. Thank you.